Hello, my name is Mitchell Jackson, and I am author of Survival Math Notes on an All-American Family. I'm in my bedroom, at my writing desk, and also beside my bookshelf. And this is my most important bookshelf. It's most important because these are many of the books that I return to often, also books that I'm using to research my latest project, and numerous books here that I purchased from independent bookstores. So I want to share a few of these books with you and talk a little bit about why they're important to me. This might be a little hard for some people to see, so I'll talk about them and maybe pull a few off. Let's start down here with one of these bottom books is the annotated African American folk tales. I think as a black writer, it's really important to have an understanding of the genesis of African American literature. If you go up to this next shelf, you see there is one of these books here is We Were 8 Years in Power by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is a book that I think is really phenomenal. It's you see it's a little worn on the edges, and that's because I've been reading it. There's also books on race and class here. There's The Fire This Time as an anthology. Then there's these books here that I'm really proud that I own. These are hardcover editions of some of my favorite books. So if you see here, there's John Edgar Wideman's Brothers and Keepers, hardcover edition. Look at that. Really amazing book. There's also this classic book here, James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time. If you look here, this is my shelf of research. So there is Isabel Wilkerson's The Warmth of Other Suns about the Great Migration. These two books here, The Fire This Time, and there's another book here that are about, it's hard to see, Rivers of Blood, Years of Darkness. This is a research book. As you can see, it has all these tabs in here, and my son actually ripped the cover off, so I had to tape it back. But yeah, so you can see I'm getting some good use out of this book. This is a shelf of nonfiction. If you can see here, one of these books on the shelf is Greg Partlow's Air Traffic. You can see again, it's another book that I've marked up. I actually did a review of this book, and you gotta have some classics on your shelf. So here I have W.E.B. Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folk, and Frantz Fanon's Black Skin, White Mask. Both of those books I bought from indie bookstores. I think I bought this book from Greenlight Bookstore and in New York, and this one I think I bought from the Strand. If you go up here is what I call one of the classic bookshelves. So we have One Floor of the Cuckoo's Nest, Ken Kesey. What's interesting about this book to me is that I actually worked in the hospital, the mental ward where this was set. I just finished reading Song of Solomon, Toni Morrison. If I take this one off, you can see there's also some tabs in there. Should be many more tabs, but I ran out of tabs when I was reading, so there are more notes. You can see red pen marks, plenty of notes in Morrison's book. Here are some novels. Here's Tommy Orange, They're There, really strong debut novel. I really love Paul Beatty's The Sellout. This is actually a gallery because I reviewed this book when it came out. This is a teaching shelf. I'm also a professor at the University of Chicago, and these are books that I return to, anthologies I return to. The Norton Anthology of African American Literature, first and second, and these are also books on fiction writing And this one, Elements of Eloquence, is really about syntax. If you can look here, I have this is my Morrison Shelf. This is her last published book, The Source of Self-Regard. It's essay collection, and it's some of her former speeches. So much wisdom in that book. I really also love this cover. You can see I have an anthology of some of her novels: Song of Solomon, Tar Baby, Sula. And then I have on the shelf with her some of writers I would consider Morrison's offspring. You can see here Heads of the Color People by Nafisa Thompson Spires. You can see here Angela Flournoy's and Turner House. And then if I pull this one off, this fancy book cover here, Jasmine Ward's Sing Unbury Sing. Up here, this is my poetry shelf. This book is Taimba Jess's Olio, which you can see it kind of comes off of the shelf because it's a huge book. It's actually might be 8.5 by 11, which is not normal size. There's also up here Natalie Diaz, When My Brother Was an Aztec, one of my favorite collections. If you look up here, there's this book. Let me get it down. Yeah. Sophia Sinclair's Cannibal, another phenomenal poetry collection. You can see here plenty of notes that I've taken in this book as well. It's a hard journey to start with an idea and then come up with a book at the other end of it. And for me, it's taken many years, and sometimes you can lose a little stamina, a little wind, maybe a little faith, and it's good to see a book up there on the top of the shelf to let you know that it's possible. You can find me at my website, which is www.mitchellsjackson.com. You can also find me on social media at Mitch S. Jackson. I hope you all go out and buy as many books as you can afford. Buy books as gifts if you can. Support independent booksellers. Support writers of colors. And have a good time doing it. Thank you.